Hello, welcome to Bored and Confused, where I review shows based on two criteria. One, was I bored? Two, was I confused? Today's show is Redwood, a new musical. Now, I went into this musical not knowing anything about it other than the fact that it stars Idina Menzel, who's not been on Broadway in a minute. So, what is Redwood about? Well, it's a pretty simple story. There's a woman whose son has passed away at the age of 23, and she's unable to overcome this grief. She gets in a fight with her partner, and she gets in her car and she drives from New York City across the country to California, where she ends up in a redwood tree forest, and she meets some scientists and convinces them to teach her how to climb trees and to allow her to sleep in this platform that's built up in the canopy of this giant redwood tree. Implausibly, they agree to let her do this, and after communing with the tree for about 10 days, she comes to accept the loss of her son, and she calls her partner and tries to make amends, and we hope everything ends happily. The music for this show is written by Kate Diaz, and she also did the orchestrations. The score is lush, beautiful, contemporary, a lot of big ballads, a lot of big singing. And the cast is up to this task. They're great singers. They really get to show off their vocal prowess. Idina, on the press preview that I saw last night, was not in peak vocal condition, but she was pretty good. The thing I find with Idina is that she doesn't have a huge toolkit when it comes to vocals. So if she's not in really good vocal health, she doesn't have a lot of tricks that she can really use to navigate around some of the difficulties she might be having. So you just end up with strained notes, or sometimes notes that are just plain flat. The songs in this show all come out of very deep emotions. They don't function really to move the plot forward. There isn't a lot of plot anyhow, so it's a lot of people really talking about what they're feeling and their love of trees. The show is directed by Tina Landau, who also is the book writer and a co-lyricist with Kate Diaz. I mainly know Tina's work from her directions, and she's a really great director. I don't know much of her writing, and I have to say this show is directed beautifully. It's staged beautifully. The set design is amazing. It uses projections on these white panels that cover the back of the stage and even come out into the audience, covering the box seats. And it's really great for the sequences when they're climbing the trees. They use these video projections to really give us the sense that we're going up in the air. It's really gorgeous. It reminds me a little bit of I Saw a Woman in White, which also used video projections, but this is taking it to the next level. In Woman in White, I found a lot of times the projections were distracting because there'd be a scene going on and there'd be a waterfall falling. But in this show, the projections are really used to give us a sense of place, and it's cinematic and beautiful, and it works really, really well. I was quite impressed with the use of projections in this show. A lot of the show takes place up 20, 30 feet off of the stage. So if you're sitting in the mezzanine, you actually are probably eye level with the actors for a lot of the show. All of the actors in this show are really great actors-singers. They do try to do some choreography with the belaying, with the rope harnesses and swinging, but these aren't dancers, so you're not getting the aerial work that you get from a show like Tarzan. So there aren't any really great belay ballets in this show. So was I bored? Was I confused? I was actually a bit bored during this show, because the problem is our main character, who's played by Idina Menzel, and although she is emotionally invested and she has some nice little light quips that are moderately humorous, her character is entrenched in sorrow, and she's not able to get over the death of her son. And she's really a character that we pity, and I just don't think pitiful characters work well in musicals. And you know, one of the reasons why she's able to climb up in the tree is because these scientists that come across her, this one guy has a soft heart and he pities her. And sometimes her self-absorption with her grief makes it so that she is not thinking about the position that she's putting other people in. By demanding to climb this tree and sleep in the canopy, she's putting these people's work at risk. And so I just had a hard time rooting for her. I felt bad for her, but she didn't have a clear want. She wanted to sleep better because she's having trouble sleeping. You know, she drove across the country, and I guess she didn't sleep, which seems really dangerous, and that she's putting people at risk. So I had a hard time with this character. as likable as Idina is. So was I confused? So the story doesn't have a lot to it, but it's implausible, and you just have to let it go and become one with the wind and sky. The reason to see Redwood: if you treat this more as maybe a concert where you can hear some really good singers sing some really beautiful power ballads with some beautiful orchestrations, I think you can enjoy the show for that. You can also enjoy it for these amazing use of video projections and the set design and the lighting. All of that's great. Clearly, these three women, who conceived by Tina Landau and Idina Menzel, and Idina also has additional contributions. Lyrics are by Kate Diaz and Tina Landau, music by Kate Diaz, book by Tina Landau. These three women really feel like they've worked to this show, and they really care about it. They really love this metaphor of the resilience of a redwood tree and how that can apply to us as human beings. It's not lost on me, but it doesn't change the fact that the story is convoluted in places and not really that interesting, and the character doesn't have a strong enough want that we as an audience can really get on board with. So go see the show for the beautiful music, for the beautiful singing, for the set design, for the projections, and if you love Idina Menzel, go see her for this. So where did I get my ticket? I scored a rush ticket because of the projections of this show. It circles around and out into the audience, covering the box seats. But if you're sitting way on the edges, you don't get the same experience as the people in the middle because you're only looking at half the projections. I wasn't there to look at the projections. I was there to see the actors, to be told a story. So I got this rush ticket for 44 bucks. They've got like 20 plus seats on the sides that they're selling for every performance, rush seats. So if you want to see Idina and you want to hear this story and hear this music, those are great seats. You can see more than half of the projections, and the projections are usually mirroring themselves. So if you see one side, you know what's on the other side, but you're not getting that immersive kind of feeling of being in the forest, the same that the people in the center sections are. So if that's important to you, then you're going to want to sit in the center. But hey, I thought this was a really good ticket price, and I was glad I saw the show. So go check out Redwood, a new musical playing at the Niederlander Theater. And go soon, because I don't know how long it's going to be around.
Don't bore me, don't confuse me. If you do, then you'll lose me. Don't wanna drift away, wanna stay inside the play, keep me engaged.